Hey guys, welcome back to Turbo Spool. My name is Eddie, and on today's video, I'm going to be doing 2 preventive maintenance projects on my Golf R, and I'm going to show you how you can check for these items before they break on you and cost you a whole lot of money. I am no stranger to Volkswagens. This is actually my 3rd one. However, it is a new platform for me. I've never had a Mark 7 before. So as I continue to learn the platform, be it talking to you guys, Facebook groups, or YouTube, I actually linked up with a company called eManual online. These guys take factory service manuals for over 2.5 million applications of automotive like what I'm using here, marine, agricultural, motorcycle, etc. And they put it together into a PDF format so you can easily search for your subject and get your instructions, torque specs, tightening sequence, and any special tools you may need, all from the manufacturer's own instructions. It takes all the guesswork out of a project, which means you don't have to go online and ask somebody for what the torque spec is and hope that they actually know what they're talking about. They could be guessing and you'd never know. But at least here, you have the actual factory service manual and you get all the information from the manufacturer. This is pretty cool because in the beginning of every section, it'll actually tell you what special tools the manufacturer thinks that you should be using in order to accomplish whatever you're looking at here. Now what's really cool is that they actually generated a 22% off discount code that I'll share with you guys here on the screen, and I'll have it down in the description for you. But check out their website and look for your car. If you don't see your car listed, send them a quick email with your VIN number and they'll be able to see if they have a manual for you. So thank you eManual Online for linking up with me. And guys, please go and support the people that support us, right? With that said, let's get to work. All right, so the first project we're doing is that we are going to replace a coolant fitting that is on the top of the cylinder head right down here, and I'll show you guys later. But down there is a coolant barb where a hose connects to, but that fitting is made of plastic. And from all my years of driving BMWs, I know very well that a plastic coolant fitting on a metal cylinder head is never a good thing. It's not a matter of if, but when it's going to break on you. So I got here an aluminum one to go ahead and replace it. Project number 2 is going to be replacing this expansion tank. Volkswagen, in their infinite wisdom, thought it was a great idea to integrate a bag of silica into the expansion tank. Yes, the little silica bag, kind of like this one that you find in like a bag, in like a box of shoes or like electronics. Yeah, this stuff here. What happens is that it's another situation like the fitting. It's not a matter of if, but when the baggie rips. All the little crystals will go downstream into your cooling system and they often clog up your heater core. And you got 2 things that happen at that point. A, you don't realize that this happened until it's winter time and you need some heat and nothing but cold air comes out. And then you get hit with the second surprise, which is the cost, because you can't really flush that out once it's in there. So you have to replace it, which means that the whole dash needs to come out in order for you to replace that heater core. It is very expensive. And all because of this. So they make replacements of these expansion tanks without the silica bag. So we're gonna go ahead and replace that now because I don't wanna get stuck with having to replace that heater core. And guys, be sure that before you start your project to go ahead and take a look at your repair instructions from eManual online, so that way you don't run into any surprises when you're elbow deep in the project. All right, we finally got the harness pulled off to the side. I ended up having to do all the 4 ground points, the 4 coils, disconnect all of these here, high pressure fuel pump, cam sensor, and diverter valve up here. There you go. And then I was able to, remove this clip here that secures it to this hose. And then I was able to flop it over to this side. Once you get that out of the way, then you have a clear shot more or less to the fitting. That's the one that we're trying to get to. You see the big Torx bolt there? That's that fitting right there. So I'm gonna go ahead and undo this clamp and disconnect it from this hard pipe. And then I'm just gonna unscrew this and pull the hose and fitting as one piece. Then I'll switch out the hose to the aluminum fitting outside the car and bring it back together. What I'm doing right now is just blowing out some of this dust. You're gonna have to play around with long needle nose, 90-degree needle nose, because at least my clamp was facing down, so I need to bring it forward where it's easy to maneuver. There it goes. So once I have it up in the front, it's easier for me to work with it. There we go. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, we need to relieve the pressure in the cooling system. So all you have to do is loosen the cap, make sure it's not hot. Obviously, we're not doing this on a hot engine. And then put the cap back on. All right, so now we're gonna work the hose off the pipe. A little WD-40 does help this. All right, got the hose off. Not much coolant came out, so just be careful about getting coolant into the connectors here. But other than that, I mean, the rag picked up most of it. So now we're gonna go ahead and just remove that bolt, and that's a T30, all right? T30. It's not all that tight, so when you go tighten the other one, make sure you don't go He-Man on it. Go easy. Oop, 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 oop. Now the fun part, trying to take that off without breaking it. What I'm going to attempt to do is that as it sits right there, it basically sits this way, right? So what I'm going to try to do is, now the bolt is not there, I'm going to try to put a flathead here and pry it up against something here and try to get this to spin. Because once it spins, it breaks the seal and then it should be easy to come off. I'm going to try going in with a 90-degree pick under it. See if I can get it to lift. Well guys, I gave up trying to be nice and I just grabbed some pliers and I pulled it up by the hose. And here it is. Came up no problem. Thankfully, it has not broken up yet. So we caught it in good time. So we're gonna go ahead and switch this out now. But something for you guys to know, you may wanna have the front end lifted because when this thing popped up, oh man, a lot of coolant came off. So now I gotta pick up that puddle afterwards. Fun. All right, so here we have the hose transferred to the new aluminum fitting. Make sure you lubricate this O-ring with fresh coolant before you go and drop it in there. Speaking of what's going on there, let me show you real quick what it looks like. All right, so that's where it's gonna go. Make sure you clean off the area around it so you don't cram any dirt into the hole. There you go. Hey guys, let me show you this real quick. You see that the bolt hole is lined up, but there is coolant in the bolt hole. So I'm going to take my air can and blow that out before we put the bolt in place. I recommend you guys cover the area because if not, it's going to spray everywhere. There we go. All right, now that's clean. Make sure you do this by hand. Again, it does not go on that tight. All right, that's good to go now. Let's put the hose back on and we are good. All right, now this part is done. We're gonna go ahead and just clean this out with brake parts cleaner, and then we're ready to put the harness back on, and we can move on to part 2 of this. All right, the harness is back on, but make sure all your connectors are in and the lock things are in, and also make sure that all your ground points for the coils are in tight. All right, so that connector was not bad. Honestly, I think it took me longer to figure out how to pull the harness off to the side carefully. I wanted to take my time and not damage any connector. So that probably took me longer than the actual change of the connector. So don't be afraid to do it, guys. It's not that difficult. All right, so now we're on to part number 2, which is replace that expansion tank. Okay, so I showed you guys how to tell if you have the plastic or the aluminum fitting on that side, right? You just have to remove the harness and then you're able to really see down there to get a good look at it. The expansion tank is a little easier, actually a whole lot easier, because you see this right here. Meet silicate. That silicate, that basically says somebody correct me if I'm wrong, my German is not all that fluent, but that tells me that it has a silica mat inside, or little baggie basically. And that's what you're looking for. If you see that, you need to replace this ASAP to avoid the problems that I told you about earlier in the video. Here's the replacement. Notice there is no, you got the instruction to read the manual, you got the instructions to use the G13 fluid, and then it's letting you know that it has the silica. On this side, there is no silica. So this is the good one. You want that. Okay, so now to replace this, it looks like it has 1 tab, 2 tabs, the connector, 1 hose, and there's one at the bottom here. There you go. That's it right there. And this hose here is connected. It's just clipped in place. All right, so that's not bad. Make sure you try to remove as much of the fluid as possible before you go and disconnect the hoses to avoid making the mess that I made earlier. Look at this right here. That's the silica bag right there. See if you can see it. That is the bag of silica. That's why we are replacing this. Oh man. Oh, well, there you go, there you go. So it looks like it's just a slide lock. It just slides down onto the tank, so you can just pull this tab and lift it straight up. All right, so now we got the upper hose out. We got the stuff on the side off of it. So now it's just the connector, these tabs, and the lower hose. All right, so I removed the 2 tabs and up it comes, and now it's just the lower hose. Woohoo! There you go. All right, guys, so right there is the bag of silica. Look at that thing. It looks like it's about to give out at any second. Wow. And then here's the new one. No silica. This is a safe one to run right here. All right, so now the next thing is I'm just gonna let it idle for about 10 minutes, let it burp out any air bubbles that are in the system, drive around the block a couple times, and just top off any coolant if it's needed. But at this point, I think we're good. What you see burning there is actually normal. That's all the coolant that's on the metal that's just burning off. What I'm really checking for is leaks. That is good. That is good. Okay. All right, just came back from my drive and coolant is good. What's crazy is that I drove it around and the level never came down. it's still the same place where I left it at, so cool. I think we're good. With that said, guys, it's November and I got a long list of stuff that I'm keeping an eye on to look out for any Black Friday or Cyber Monday sales. So hopefully there will be more parts coming for this car pretty soon. Actually, I have one right here that stick around to the end of the video and I'll give you a quick teaser on that. Anyway, I just want to thank eManual Online once again, and more importantly, I want to thank you guys, the subscribers. Guys, I'm almost at 2,000 subscribers. For someone that's doing this as a hobby and not really pushing for any marketing or anything, like, man, that's awesome. Because again, I'm not really trying to push the content out there. I'm just putting it out there on YouTube and it's growing. It's been continually growing, and for that, guys, I am definitely very thankful, very humbled. So thank you guys, and I will see you soon.